After countless sleepless nights and endless rejections, the moment I turned the key, everything started to unravel. How could I have imagined that I would find myself pacing back and forth in an empty apartment? My savings dwindled to a mere $6.12. Just a month ago, I had left behind a high-paying finance job, a decision that had felt liberating at the time, but now seemed reckless. My name is Emily Harper, and at 30 years old, I was emotionally and financially drained, desperately seeking purpose. That afternoon, staring at the cracked ceiling of my tiny one-bedroom apartment in Nashville, Tennessee, I felt the crushing weight of failure. For years, I had poured my energy into spreadsheets and stock portfolios, climbing the corporate ladder with unrelenting determination. But the higher I climbed, the emptier I felt. The endless meetings, superficial conversations, and the constant chase for money left me disconnected from myself and others. My family didn't understand my decision. My mother's voice echoed in my head. Why would you leave such a stable career? Friends drifted away as I retreated into my world of self-doubt and isolation. I needed change, but all I had was a crumpled notebook filled with scribbles about a dream I couldn't afford to chase. Starting my own coffee business. I had no truck, no equipment, no customers. Just a vision of creating a space where people could connect over a cup of coffee, away from the chaos of their daily lives. It felt impossible. The nights were the hardest. Lying awake, staring at the dim glow of the streetlights outside, I replayed every mistake, every doubt. Was I just another dreamer destined to fail? Anxiety gnawed at my stomach, and the weight of my expectations pressed heavily on my chest. I had always been the planner, the one with the 5-year strategy. Now I was a woman without a plan. One evening I realized I hadn't eaten a proper meal in days. My pantry was nearly empty except for a few packs of instant noodles. As I boiled water in a dented pot, I wondered how much lower I could sink. My electricity was about to be cut off, and I knew eviction wasn't far behind. In those dark moments, I questioned everything. Was this dream worth the sacrifices? Could I turn this around? But even in the depths of despair, a tiny flicker of determination remained. Maybe, just maybe, I could find a way forward. One humid morning, after weeks of torment, I walked into a local coffee shop and hesitantly asked the barista, "Can I work here to learn?" She looked at me, a woman in her 30s with no experience, and said,
"If you're serious, be here tomorrow at 6 a.m.
I showed up. I worked for free, shadowing her every move. Grinding beans, frothing milk, and pulling espresso shots became my world. The smell of coffee and the hum of the machines gave me a sense of purpose. But as my savings dwindled to near zero, reality loomed over me like a storm cloud. One day, a customer complained about their latte art, and I felt tears sting my eyes. Could I ever be good enough? One evening, after a long shift, I returned home to find an eviction notice taped to my door. Panic gripped me. I had reached the edge of a cliff. With nowhere to turn and nothing to lose, I broke down. I knew I had two choices: crawl back to the corporate world or risk everything on my dream. The next morning, I sold everything I could: my car, my designer clothes, even the gold bracelet my grandmother had given me. With $3,500 in hand, I scoured online marketplaces and found a beaten-up food truck. It was rusty and barely functional, but it was mine. The truck needed repairs, permits, and branding. I had no idea where to start. Every step felt like climbing a mountain. I spent sleepless nights watching YouTube tutorials on welding and plumbing, trying to fix the truck myself. By day, I handed out flyers, sharing my vision with anyone who would listen. Rejections came in waves. The plumbing system in the truck failed on my first test run. On another day, I accidentally burned through my limited funds trying to print flyers with a typo. Each setback felt like the universe was testing me. But despite everything, I pressed on. After weeks of rejections, a local farmer's market offered me a weekend spot. It was my first real chance. I spent days scrubbing the truck, painting it, and finalizing a simple menu. The night before my debut, I barely slept. My nerves were on edge, but I knew I had to give it my all. That morning, as the sun rose over the market, I brewed my first cup of coffee for a customer. Her smile and her kind words, "This is amazing," reignited the spark within me. Slowly but surely, word began to spread. People loved my truck, which I had named Grounded Bliss. It wasn't just about coffee, it was about connection. The first month was tough. I barely broke even. But by the second month, I had regular customers who came not just for coffee, but for a sense of community. They loved hearing my story, a woman who had risked everything to follow her passion. I started an Instagram page to document my journey, and to my surprise, it gained traction. The community rallied around me, and for the first time, I felt like I belonged. Within a year, sales increased by 450%. I invested in better equipment, expanded the menu, and even hired 2 part-time baristas. Grounded Bliss became a local favorite, with people lining up not just for the coffee, but for the experience. The real breakthrough came when a local magazine featured my story. "From Despair to Bliss: How Emily Harper Brewed Success," the headline read. Overnight, my Instagram followers doubled, and so did my sales. My little truck had become a symbol of resilience and hope. Today, Grounded Bliss generates 6 figures annually. I've paid off my debts, saved for the future, and started mentoring other women who dream of starting their own businesses. My journey taught me that success isn't about the destination. It's about the resilience you build along the way. Final reflections to anyone reading this: know that your darkest moments can be the foundation for your brightest achievements. When you feel like giving up, remember, every roadblock is a stepping stone to something better. Chase your dream, trust the process, and never stop believing in yourself.